Thank you for joining me today to do a lesson on engineering. So, what is an engineer, you ask? An engineer is somebody that builds and makes something. This could be an item, it could be a structure, but engineers make most things. Today, we're going to engineer ourselves a building. But before we do that, we're going to start with a simpler lesson on how to make 3D shapes. So today for our lesson, all you're going to need is some play-doh, some toothpicks, and a clean working space. So always remember the first thing you want to do is you want to wash your hands whenever you do anything. So why don't you start by going to wash your hands for 20 seconds and we'll meet back here when you're done. Okay, so now I'm going to show you guys how to make some simple shapes. We're going to be making a square and a triangle. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to separate a couple of toothpicks from the package and you're going to get your Play-Doh ready. So I'm going to separate my Play-Doh into a couple of smaller balls. So these balls are going to be about the size of a penny. You don't want to make them too big and you don't want to make them too small. So why don't we start by making 4 balls for our square. You want to try and make these balls as even as possible. You can see mine are not very even. As you know, a square has 4 corners. So wherever there's a corner, there's going to be a ball of clay. Once we have our 4 corners ready to go, we're simply just going to add the toothpicks in between. And there is our square. Next, I'm going to show you a triangle. So just like how a square has 4 corners, a triangle has 3 corners. So we're going to use 3 balls of clay to make our triangle. Again, we're going to add our toothpicks right where our corners are, and that's going to create our shape. Now, why don't you take a couple minutes to see how many different shapes you can come up with your toothpicks and clay besides a square and a triangle. And then I'll show you how to make these into 3-dimensional shapes. Okay, so now I'm going to show you guys how to make our 2D shapes into 3D shapes. As you can see, I pre-rolled a bunch of our clay circles, so if you want to go ahead and pause the video and roll yourself some circles, that might be a good idea right now. So my next step is I'm going to recreate the shapes I've already made. So I'm going to make another square and I'm going to make another triangle. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to line up my corners. So I'm going to make a square on the table so I can see where I'm going to put my toothpicks. So now we have 2 squares. So what I'm going to do is you're going to get another toothpick for each corner. So I'm going to need 1, 2, 3, 4 more toothpicks. And what we're going to do, and this might be easier if you have a sibling or a parent help you, but we're going to put them right on top of each other. And we're going to add our toothpicks in the middle. And this is going to create our 3-dimensional square, also known as a cube. How cool is that? Pretty cool. Now we're going to make our triangle 3 dimensions. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to create another triangle by lining up our edges and then inserting our toothpicks. Now that we have 2 triangles, we're going to do the same thing, and we're going to put toothpicks in between our 2 shapes to create a 3-dimensional effect. This might be an easier way to get it done. Now it's okay if your shapes break, because remember, we always need to have our patience when we do things like this. And our structures are going to break, they're going to come undone, but we just need to be patient and put it back together. So now we have 2 3-dimensional shapes. We have our cube and we have our triangle. How cool is that? Stay tuned, and I'm going to show you how to turn these into a building. Now I'm going to show you how to turn your 3D shapes into a building. So what we're going to do is we're going to decide if we want to go up or if we want to go to the side. So I think that I'm going to start, let's start building this way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my toothpicks to the side that I want to expand. And then we're just going to keep on adding our clay to the end of our toothpicks. It's good to make sure that you have a bunch of pre-rolled clay when you do this. That way you're not stopping all the time to get your clay going. Oh, it's all right, we make mistakes, right? So there you go. Now I have a structure and I have 2 rooms on my building. You're going to do the same thing with your triangles if you want to make your triangle structure bigger. You can also add your triangles on top of your square and see what you can get. Why don't you take this time to see how big of a building you can make, and then I'll show you how big my building gets, and we'll meet up after this. All right, here's the silly structure that I made. I'm gonna work on this for a while, and why don't you guys post the big structures and really cool things that you make in the comments below, and I'll see you next week for my next video. Thanks for joining me.